This educational video is provided by Magee Rehabilitation, Jefferson Health System, through a grant funded by the Kessler Foundation.
My name is Magee. I am a T6 complete paraplegic. Some things to be aware about when you come to a bar like this. Well, right now we're at a happy hour. It's not really that crowded, but you've probably seen a few hours, or actually tonight, this place will be jumping. And this place and a lot of other places we go, here I am near the bar, and I got people reaching over me trying to get a drink. People are, I'm right by the bar. People are spilling things on me, so you have to come out with a frame of mind and have to realize that, people don't realize it sometimes what they're doing. So, and people, the main thing they want to do is they just want to get a drink. So hopefully you have a spot for them to get by. Or if not, they'll kindly ask you, say, hey, do you mind if I get a drink? And just be like, yeah, sure, no problem. So when me and my friends go out, if we're trying to hit a place that we know, I usually know it's handicap accessible, but if there's a new place in town, what I usually do is I'll call ahead and I'll ask them, are you guys handicap accessible? Are your bathrooms located on the first floor? Are your bathrooms handicap accessible? Because a lot of times they'll say, oh yeah, we're handicap accessible, and I'll get there and there'll be a step, and then when I get inside, the bathrooms will be actually upstairs. So it's always good to call ahead to make sure that the place is equipped for me before I get there. So now, into the bathroom? Now you can come on in and I'll show you. At least this bathroom's nicely equipped. I would usually just come in here and do my intermittent cathing. Just take my bag, cath myself. When I'm done, drain it in the toilet, throw it out, wash my hands. If I come to a place and the bathroom is not accessible, I usually just kind of wander outside, find a little shady spot, and do my business there. I mean, what can I say, You got to do what you got to do sometimes. So, but luckily I've been pretty lucky in the places that I go that they are handicap accessible. In the event that there's not, though, I do have to pretty much go outside and just do my thing. Usually when I come shopping, it's usually a place that I know of, and if I don't know the place, I always make sure I call ahead to make sure that they're handicap accessible. And some things that I find when I'm shopping is that some department stores are, there's a lot of space and I can maneuver, but you'd be surprised that there's a lot of tight spaces when you're shopping that they don't design they don't have enough space for you to get by with your wheelchair. So that's something you have to be considerate about. And then it's always helpful to just either ask an assistant to let them know that, hey, I'm going to do some shopping. I might need somebody to either get me a certain size or get something that you can't reach. So it's always good to have somebody, wandering around with you. And usually the department stores don't even mind. So if anything, they cater to you. So that's really not an issue. So just something to keep in mind. And another thing too is a lot of the dressing rooms aren't accessible. To them, they think that they have a bar on the wall that's accessible, but you physically can't fit through it. So that's another thing you have to be aware of when you're doing your shopping for some clothes. One thing to consider when shopping for jeans and wearing jeans, I wear jeans all the time, but when I go out. But one thing I find that with jeans is that jeans, all kinds of clothes, you want to definitely keep them loose. You'll never see me wearing skinny jeans for two reasons. One is I don't like them, especially for guys, and number two is you just can't have that skin tight. Being in a wheelchair, your legs are always, you want to get creases and crinks in your jeans, and that's just not good. That definitely could lead to some skin breakdown. The one thing you want to do when buying pants is that I find that normally I can fit comfortably in a 34, 32 length, just because, again, with my jeans, I like them longer because we're sitting. So the last thing you want is to have you don't want that. You know what I mean? So it's unfortunate we have to buy longer sizes, but it just looks better. So I always get a longer length for my pants, so that way it's covering down to my shoe. And for the waist area, you definitely want to get, so if I sit in a comfortable 34, I can buy 34s, but sometimes depending on the cut of the jean, I'll get 36s just because I want to have that room, around my waist. I mean, sure, these are loose, but again, I'd rather have them loose than have them tight. to avoid skin issues, any kind of skin breakdown. So that's definitely something you want to consider is when you're buying jeans, get them a little long, get them a little loose, no skinny jeans. One thing about when you're shopping for shoes, I'm normally a size 9, but going back to when I was in rehab, I remember the therapist saying that, because of our situation, because we're sitting and you always have, your legs are always in this position, it's better to buy a shoe that's at least a size larger. So when I shop for shoes, I'll shop for a 10, and you'll see that, this shoe, for instance, definitely way too narrow. So you definitely don't want to get shoes that are narrow because, again, when you're in this position, your feet are definitely getting swollen. And I always find that when I take my shoes off, obviously you'll see like my feet are swollen. They'll have some kind of some indentations from the socks. But for the most part, a skinny shoe like that, you got to be careful about. You want to get something that's, or if you do get a skinny shoe, just make sure you don't tie it too tight. You definitely want to give yourself some room for your feet to circulate and get some air in there as well. So. Okay, first thing you want to do when you're driving the car, you want to transfer out. First thing I do is, if you have the seat settings where it can remember it has like 2 settings, you can have it upright or down. It has 2 different positions. That's great to have. If you don't, you need to do it manually. But since I have it, the first thing I do is I set it in a position where the chair actually goes back. So the first thing you want to do, or what I like to do, is I keep a towel because I don't want to get anything scratched in the car. I like to keep the car as nice as it looks on the outside. That's how I like to keep it on the inside. I don't want to scratch anything. I don't want to ruin any of the upholstery or anything like that. So that's the first thing you do is you lean yourself back, grab your chair, bring it over this way, bring it over. Like I said, try to clear everything. Try not to scrape up against anything, try not to bang anything. And then I set the next button so that way it brings the seat in an upright position, or I could do it manually if I had to. But like I said, with this feature, it's nice. So either way, you're doing it manually this way, and sometimes you just have the lever that pulls back and it's easier as well. So, and then here, I use my tippers. The reason why, again, I use my tippers for a lot of reasons. I do a lot of city traveling, and I got a lot of high curbs, I got a lot of steep ramps, and I fell out of the chair one too many times. But another good thing for it especially is when I'm transferring into the, getting out of the car, putting a wheelchair together, it actually helps me, rather than have to like lean down and pick it up, it actually does make a difference. So at this point, I'll shut the car off and then I'll put the wheels on. Next wheel, same thing. Bring it down, and again, see, that's the reason of having a towel here, is so that way I don't want to scrape anything or do any damage to the car. Like I said, try to keep the car as scratch-free as possible. And then I bring it here with the brakes, lock it up. I got the pad, put the pad on there like this, and then now it's time to transfer. So what I usually do, take one leg out at a time, take it that way, take this leg out, scoot up, and then here, get ready for the transfer, nice and clean. Bingo, just like that. And then bingo. Lock it up. Let's go shopping. Depending on what you're shopping for, here's a key, something to keep in mind, is when you're doing your grocery shopping, what I try to do is, if I have to do a mass grocery shopping, that's okay, but I got to wheel around in a cart, which is fine. But the only thing is that it's more stuff I have to take in and out of, put in the car, it's more stuff I got to take in and out of the house. So what I try to do is, if I have to do a major shopping like that, I will. But for the most part, I try to shop as frequently as possible, so that way I know when I'm starting to go low, I can just use a regular hand cart and pop it on my lap, and then do all my grocery shopping that way. So when I do it this way, it just makes it easier because it's less I have to carry and put in and out of the car. So I'll go buy some lettuce over here. follow your basics. You know, you want to have your fruits and vegetables, protein, high protein, low fat. Be careful with the carbs. You know, everybody's carbs, they certainly pack on some pounds. On a certain day, I want to eat some pasta, I just go ahead and eat it. If I want some pizza, I don't deprive myself, but at the same time, you want to stick to a well-balanced diet and a healthy diet because, again, you know, being in this position, you can gain weight rather quickly. So that's usually what I do. So for the most part, I mean, I can reach a lot of the high stuff. So let's just say I'm trying to grab this. So I'll grab this, I'll put this here, but if there's something higher and I don't have my grabber, either I'll just flag somebody down in the aisle, or I'll just get, you know, someone who works here. And usually when I'm in here, they'll say, if you need any assistance with anything, just let us know and we'll be more than glad to help you. So that's the key thing. So if you can't reach something, either flag somebody that's in the aisle, or just ask someone who works here and they'll give you a hand. Let's just say, you know, I'm having a few friends over and we want to make some burgers. So I'll get if I don't want to get the fresh ground meat and make it myself, I'll just grab these Boca burgers. They're really easy. You can just throw them in the broiler or throw them on the grill. Lock up the brakes, hold on. There you go. Get these here. Got it. Perfect. Okay, unlock. Close the door. Let's go.
Thank you for shopping at Acme Market. 349. Have you scanned your Acme Supercard?
First, you got to use your Acme card. Scan that bit. There you go.
Card accepted. 30 cents savings.
One thing I usually do is, obviously I didn't buy a lot of groceries today, but what I try to do is, when I do have a lot of groceries, I put everything back into my cart, and then I'll wheel out and I'll take the whole cart with me. As you can see, I already have my own cart. So what I normally would do would just take the whole cart. Actually, I take the cart that I use, bring it into the Acme or the supermarket that I'm in, and then I would just put it back on my lap, and then I'll just transport the whole thing into the car like that. And that's where I usually just put the groceries in. And then, you know, when I get to my house, I just take the whole thing out like this, put it on my lap, and then I can get into the house much better. So like I said, it's usually stacked pretty high, but you want to be careful. You don't want to go too heavy because then again, you know, you're putting a lot of pressure on your legs. So for now, I'll just put this in here like that, close this, and that's that.